Okay, so we need to prepare for adding some sections to the next quiz. You will also have an opportunity to reassess on 4.1 through 4.4. This is optional though, so if you are happy with these scores, you're good. If you're not happy, make sure you understand what you did wrong so we can fix it. So the first section 4.1, success criteria 4.1, was just identifying the body's 4 basic tissue types. So the first one, the type of tissue that can transmit signals by electrical impulse. That's going to be neural or nervous tissue. The second one, the type of tissue that specializes in contraction and shortening, would be muscle tissue. The type of tissue that lines all internal and external surfaces. Lining surfaces is epithelial tissue. And the filler tissue that also provides support and stores energy is connective. Okay, so that was out of 5. I just took, if you missed any, I just took it away from 5. So if you missed 1, you got a 4 out of 5. Missed 2, it was 3 out of 5. All right, success criteria 4.2.4.3. I can discuss the types and functions of, this is epithelial tissues, by the way. Not that you needed to fill that in. But so you know, that's what we're talking about in 4.2 and 4.3. You should know that, hopefully. Number 1, meaning more than one layer of cells means B, stratified. The ones that are able to stretch are transitional, that's F. And I can't believe nobody got, oh, I went out of order. Okay, that was number 3. Number 5, I can't believe nobody got skin. Actually, I can, because I made a mistake and didn't put the answer for skin on there. So if you look at your quiz, oh, I fixed it on here. So on tomorrow's quiz, there will be an option H, stratified squamous. That's what skin is, a stratified squamous. However, I neglected to put that on your quiz, so nobody missed that. Okay, I did write the correct answer next to your answer, though. So that would be H. Number 7 would be found in the respiratory tract. So respiratory tract, we're going to need sweepers. We're going to need cilia, as in pseudostratified ciliated columnar. So that is G. And number 9, one layer of flattened cells. One layer would be simple. Flattened cells would be squamous. 9 is C. Okay. Over here to number 2, have cilia on their surface. That's G again. Pseudostratified ciliated columnar. Number 4, meaning one layer of cells, would be A. Simple means one layer. Have microvilli on the surface. Microvilli on the surface happens with simple columnar. So that's E. And then number 8, one layer of cube cells. That's going to be simple cuboidal, D. And would be found in the digestive tract. Again, the microvilli, they help with absorption. So that's good in the digestive tract. Talking about absorption, so that would be E as well. All right, so those are your answers to 4.2 and 4.3. These, so success criteria 4.1, 4.2, 4.3, 4.4 are optional, but there's going to be some new ones added that I'll talk about in a second. Okay, everybody good with that? Okay, so I was kind of picky on this concept map. Otherwise, it would have been next to impossible to grade. But this is success criteria 4.4, which, by the way, we're talking about in 4.4 connective tissue. And that so happens to be the title, connective tissue, which I said title is not included in your answers here. Okay, so we can break connective tissue up into 3 categories. And the first one here, make sure you remember this order. This is connective tissue proper, CTP. In the middle, we're going to put our fluid connective tissue. And on the right, we're going to put supporting. All right, and connective tissue proper, we can actually put two different types there. We can break that down into a subcategory of loose and dense. All right. An example of loose would be, some people put areolar, which was not a choice, but it is a type of loose connective tissue. But adipose is the option I gave you in your word bank over here to the right. And then dense would be tendons and ligaments. Okay. Fluid connective tissue. So these are going to be our things that flow, like blood, like lymph fluid. And supporting is going to be strong, like bone and cartilage. You just kind of have to memorize them. Everybody good with that? And so still with 4.4 on the backside, describe the three main types of connective tissue in terms of ground substance, protein, fibers, and cells. So I'm going to list them in the same order that we had on the other side. So CTP, fluid, and supporting. Okay. The ground substance. For CTP, it's kind of syrupy. In fluid connective tissue, it's watery. And supporting, it's dense. Is that what I said for that? Just dense. Protein fibers in the connective tissue proper are going to be kind of a wide arrangement, maybe more loosely packed. Okay. In fluid connective tissue, the protein fibers are actually dissolved. So there aren't really any that we see in terms of fibers because the proteins are dissolved. And protein fibers in supporting tissue, of course, with densely packed. And then in terms of cells, I'm really just looking for, is there a variety of cells or are they like distinctive? Can we see distinctive cells? Like, for example, in fluid, blood cells, we can tell what those are. It's pretty easy to see. The only one that doesn't really have distinctive cells is connective tissue proper, is like a wide variety of cells. So that would be various, whereas both of these, and maybe if you guys saw the bone under the microscope, maybe you could see that that was pretty distinctive too. Distinctive or distinct, whatever. Okay, so that's your old quiz. If you're redoing those tomorrow, that'll be helpful. So what are we adding new? Well, if you look back to scroll through my Google Classroom and you look back to lesson Monday 11.4, what we did was we went over the checkpoints. And I showed you guys some pictures for the first half. And then there were a few more that I said we're not going to worry about those yet because those are not on this quiz. Well, they're on this one. So let's take a look. So this is back on lesson Monday 11.4. Let's take a peek. You guys see that okay? All right, it's kind of blurry, but I think we can work with this. All right, so the new ones are going to be 4.6, 4.7, 4.8. 4.6, so the three types of muscle tissue, we got to know skeletal tissue, muscle tissue, we got to know cardiac muscle tissue, and we got to know smooth muscle tissue. So skeletal muscle tissue, that attaches to limbs, by the way. and that's for our like controlled movement. All right. So I'm going to break these up in like two categories. You should be able to tell me whether the muscle is striped or not. You should be able to tell me if it is voluntary or involuntary. So skeletal muscle does have a striped appearance because of the way the fibers are organized, and it is voluntary. Okay, we can control it consciously. Cardiac muscle is also striped in appearance, but it is involuntary. We can't really just control our heartbeats. And that's where this is found, is the heart. Another significant feature about this is that if we look at it under a microscope, we would see that it's branching, okay? That's one easy way to tell it apart. If we're just looking at two sets of muscle fibers, one branches, one doesn't, and they're both striped, skeletal and cardiac. Smooth does not have a striped appearance. It is involuntary. This is more like the viscera, like our guts, digestive organs. Call it spindle shaped. When I talk about the tapering at the ends, kind of gets narrower at the ends. In terms of 4-7, neural tissue, trying to go quick because I'm running out of time, but we should know by now neural tissue carries information by means of electrical impulses. This is the way we communicate around our body quickly, okay? If we want to send some kind of respond to our environment, we send a quick message, hey, do this. There's something flying at your head. All right, nervous system. There's also a picture of a neuron on here. Can I erase this stuff at the top? So you should be able to label some things. If I give you a picture of a neuron, you should be able to tell me the main part of the neuron is just called the cell body. The dark part in the middle is the nucleus. So you should be able to label those things. These little branches coming off of the cell body are called dendrites. The tail out this end is called the axon. And then the ends of the axons where they branch out here, these are called synaptic terminals. So you should be able to label those things. On 4-8, talking about inflammation, it's actually tissue injury. You should be able to tell me the two main parts are inflammation and regeneration. Okay, so the two main parts are inflammation and regeneration. Inflammation is all the cleanup and preparing for regeneration, basically. It's going to isolate the spot of the damaged tissue. Did I erase this stuff up here? Oh. It's as high as I can go. All right, so inflammation and regeneration. Inflammation isolates damaged tissue for cleanup. Think of what happens when you get an injury to tissue: swelling, warmth, redness, pain, and increased nutrients, increased O2, and increased white blood cells. That is the new one for tomorrow.